So, 2020 happened. Like I'm sure many of you, I had a rough 2020. I believe the term that is being most commonly thrown around at the moment is dumpster fire, and that seems pretty accurate. But I wanted to kind of take a moment to acknowledge all the great things that happened in 2020 and all the things I'm hoping for in 2021. Yes, I am thankful to leave 2020 behind, but that does not mean that all of our problems are immediately resolved. COVID is still very much a thing. The world is absolutely in shambles, but I am hoping that this time next year, things will be better. I don't know what exactly better means as of yet, but I am hoping that they will be better. But before we start looking too far into the future, let's talk about the past. 2020 started out great for me. I did a show. I travelled to Adelaide to perform in the Fringe Festival with said show, which was honestly one of my favourite things that I've ever done. I got to hang out with really cool people and have just an amazing experience getting to see a whole bunch of live theatre with people I genuinely enjoyed spending time with. And we were incredibly lucky that our show actually finished in early March, so we didn't really get affected by any of that COVID lockdown stuff. That all really started happening around the time our show closed, so we were incredibly lucky that we didn't feel too much of an impact there. I got to direct 2 musicals this year, The Little Mermaid, which was meant to perform in July and ended up performing in December, so that was a very long staggered rehearsal period, and I also directed a show that I wrote for the high school that I teach at, which was my 3rd time writing a full-length jukebox musical, and that's an achievement because they are hard. That's a lot of hours sitting at a computer screen hoping that your brain will make words go. This year I also got accepted into my dream course in my dream university. That was Royal Central School of Speech and Drama in London. I got accepted into their musical theatre master's program, which was so exciting. I don't know what's happening with that at the moment. I was meant to move there a couple of days ago, and due to COVID, have not been able to get there. I don't know what's happening with that, but the fact that I got accepted, I'm going to count that as a win, even if it ends up falling through and not happening. Which I'm totally chill about and not freaking out over. Inevitable impending disappointment aside, I think those 4 things are my biggest triumphs of the year. You know, getting to travel with a show, put on a show, write a show, and then get accepted into a course. Those are 4 pretty big achievements, and considering how much of this year was spent waiting for it to be safe to go outside again, I think those are pretty impressive. I also created a bunch of online classes for the dance school that I teach at, which was a very interesting exercise in filming myself as a dance teacher and not as a singer or an actor or anything like that. I'd never really done anything like that before. I'd never had to put videos of myself doing my dance stuff online. I also learned a lot about MuseScore and how to notate the songs that I was teaching. I was doing the musical theatre class, so I kind of had to do singing and dancing at the same time. And I learned a lot about superimposing stuff. I've got really good at iMovie. And so it was a very stressful experience, but I learned a lot, and I think that was a pretty cool achievement as well. Speaking of editing, this year I spent a lot more time focused on this on my YouTube channel. There was a period of time where, as performing arts teachers, we couldn't teach in a classroom with our kids, so I was creating those online videos and also teaching over Zoom, which was an experience. And so I had a lot more time to dedicate to something that I just genuinely enjoyed creating. This year saw the creation of our Disney Week series, so our Tangled Week and our Frozen Week, and they are something that I'm so genuinely proud of, and the response has been so lovely to those videos, so that's definitely something that I'm going to be continuing with going on into the future. I have some plans for what I want to do next. I don't want to give anything away, but the next one is pretty much all planned out, and it is heading in a slightly different direction to what we have been seeing so far, but it's still quite similar. That's all the clues I'm going to give you because I don't want to give it away. This year I uploaded 32 new videos onto my channel, which is triple the amount of videos that were on my channel before this year, so that is a massive improvement. Some of that content this year was my cottagecore content. 2020 was the year I discovered what cottagecore was. It was always kind of an aesthetic that I was leaning towards, but I never really had a name for it. I definitely didn't have a community for it. I didn't really know what it was. And I genuinely love it so much, and I'm so thankful that that is something that I can now identify as a goal for myself and as an aesthetic that I am interested in and invested in. It's a small thing, but it's nice to have that label. I like labels, sue me. The last section of my achievements is the things that I have made. I have spent a lot of time this year making sets, making props, making costumes, making things, and so here's like a quick little snapshot of a bunch of things that I created. I made 12 guns, a Mayan calendar, a ship wheel, a boat, Ariel's grotto for the Little Mermaid, a rock that people could stand and dance on, a trident, and a shell necklace. And I made so many more things, but those are the things that I still have, or I have photos of, or that were just particularly difficult to make, and I'm pretty proud of myself for creating them. Those I would count as my major achievements for 2021. I am genuinely so proud of myself with this list. I know that sounds a little bit like, yay, go me, but screw it. Yes, yay, go me. 2020 was a dumpster fire of a year, but look at all the things I've achieved, and anyone watching this, I would recommend write out a list of things that you have achieved. They don't need to be big things. There are things on my list that are tiny. I literally have things like, I did my first escape room this year. Tiny achievement, but something I genuinely have wanted to do for a long time. Or I finally bought the game Super Fight and played it multiple times with friends and family. That's something that I've wanted to do for a long time. These little achievements really add up, and it's genuinely so lovely to see how my year turned out and what I have to show for it. But now it is time to say farewell to 2020 and take those calendars off the wall and put up your nice new 2021 calendar and start thinking about what we want to achieve in the year ahead. I have a couple of goals and I'm putting them here out into the world so I can hopefully manifest them, and we'll see how we go. The first thing is I want to have my own apartment, whether that is here or whether it is in London. Again, I don't know what's happening with my master's program at the moment. But I would like to have my own space. I have been living with my parents for the past couple of years in order to save up to move internationally. It's time for me to go. Whether I'm finding somewhere here or whether I'm finding somewhere there, who knows? But I want to have my own place, so hopefully that'll be happening very soon. Something else I really want to do in 2021 is take a solo vacation, whether that is here in Sydney. I'd like to go up to the Blue Mountains, rent a cottage for a weekend. I think that sounds lovely. Or if I am going to the UK, maybe take the train across to Paris for a weekend. I don't know, the world is my oyster. But I want to take at least one solo trip this year. I love exploring a new place, so that's definitely something that I want to do. I noticed as I was writing this list that a lot of the things that I want to do involve getting back into classes that I haven't taken in a while. I stopped taking singing lessons when COVID hit because, first of all, safety, and second of all, money. So I want to get back into singing lessons. I want to get back into taking dance classes. I want to start doing personal training again. I want to take a filmmaking class. These are all things that I wanted to learn, and so I've actually booked myself in for a DSLR specific videography class, so that will be happening soon. So hopefully that will mean the content here will get a lot better. And speaking of content here, my goal is to create a regular upload schedule, whether that means every week there's a new video or every fortnight there's a new video. I definitely want to spread out my weekly series things because they take so much time to put together and they are kind of exhausting. So I definitely don't want to do too many of those. I'm thinking maybe one every 3-4 months, something like that, because they do require a lot of build up, especially if they're a duet thing like Tangled Week the Second. That was a lot of coordinating, and I'm very bad at asking people to do things for me, so hopefully I will be able to get out 3 or 4 of those weekly series things a year. I don't think that's too crazy. I'd love to be able to do weekly videos, like a new video every week. I think that would be amazing, and at the moment I have a lot of free time, so we'll see how that goes. And speaking of goals with this channel, I'd like to create a subscriber goal of 500. I don't know if that's crazy to try and double my subscribers by next year, but let's give it a go. There we go. 500 subscribers by next year. I'm putting it out there. Share this channel with your mates if you like it, or don't. It's not that important. But it would be super cool if we did. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? I also have this thing that hold on, actually, I'll show you. I really should have done this before I started recording. All right, I got it. So back in, I want to say 2014, I started this tradition where every time something good happened to me, or anytime I was particularly happy or just had a really nice day out with friends, I would write it down on a little piece of paper and put it in this jar. And then on New Year's Eve or New Year's Day, I would open it up and read every nice thing that had happened that year. And it was a really lovely way to look at the past through very rose-tinted glasses and remember all the good things that happened that year. In 2016, I traveled to New York and I was still doing it. I took the jar across with me and had a brilliant year and made a brand new friend who I got really close with, and then had a massive falling out right before the end of the year, which I'm honestly still kind of traumatized about. So I have never opened this and never read any of the good things because so many of them involve her and I can't bring myself to read them, but I also can't bring myself to throw them away. I want to get back into doing this, and I think having this jar staring at me full of all these old memories is not healthy. So I'm not going to throw them away, but I am going to put them in a little bag, and maybe one day I will read them. But I want to start getting back into writing every good thing that happens, every time someone comments something nice on a YouTube video, or every time, you know, you go to the supermarket and the strawberries are particularly that day. Just keeping little snapshots of the good things, I think, is very cute and sweet. So that is something that I'm going to try and do this year as well, and maybe I will read some of them out on camera next year. I do not have anything profound to say about the next year except wash your hands, wear your mask. It's not actually over just because it's not 2020 anymore. We all need to keep doing what we're doing, keep keeping each other safe, keep getting tested, but don't give up hope on the future. There we go. That's a kind of nice way to end it. And hopefully I'll see you guys for another video soonish. Okay. Bye!